All right, let's dive right in. We're talking about the start of the 26-27 football season for Birmingham City. And this campaign, it didn't kick off with hope and optimism. No, for manager Travis Katari, it started with a thick, heavy sense of dread. And honestly, I can't think of a better way to put it. This wasn't some friendly, fresh start to the season. This was a warning. It tells you right away that this year was going to be an absolute dogfight, right from the very first whistle. So you might be asking, where's all this tension coming from? Well, as it so often does, it starts upstairs. The main conflict, the entire theme for the season, was set in stone before a player even touched a ball. The board decided to move the goalposts by a mile. And there it is, just like that. Simple, direct, and completely insane. You have to remember, last season the goal was just to stay safe, finish mid-table. Now they're demanding a shot at promotion. For a manager like Hutari who's already feeling the strain, that's like being told to climb Everest in your shorts. Now, to help him on this impossible climb, the board did hand him a transfer budget. And you look at that number, almost 13 million euros, and you think, okay, that's not bad. It feels like a decent amount of cash to go out and build a team. But in today's football world, that number is a mirage. And that's the hard reality, isn't it? It's the kind of money that lets you dream for a day or two before the transfer market smacks you back to reality. One or two decent players can eat up that entire budget, which puts all the pressure back on Kotari to pull a rabbit out of a hat. So, with an impossible expectation and a deceptively small budget, Qatari had to build his squad. And the process is described as a circus, a chaotic, almost desperate mix of hope and strategic panic to find players who could actually compete. The main strategy? It was all about the loan market. He brought in this loan army, a bunch of talented young guys from bigger clubs. And then he made one huge splash. He spent the vast majority of his budget, a massive $8.75 million, on one player, a goalkeeper, Matthew Cox from Brentford. A huge gamble. And speaking of gambles, let's talk about the key attacker they brought in, Othmane Mama. I mean, this guy is a Travis Qatari signing through and through. You look at the pros. He's lightning fast, creative, absolutely fearless. But then you look at the cons. He bends the rules. He's part genius, part liability, the kind of player who could win you the league or get himself sent off in the first 10 minutes. Okay, so you've got your loan army, your big money goalie, and your wild card up front. Kotari needed a system to make all this chaos work, and he wasn't interested in gritty possession football. No, this was a blueprint for one thing and one thing only: mayhem. He called it the machine, a 4-1-2-3 with a solid defensive midfielder. The idea was brutally simple. Let the other team have the ball, let them come at you, soak it all up, and the second you get it back, you explode forward with pure speed and aggression. It's a rope-a-dope strategy built for an underdog team that loves a fight. And who better to sum it all up than the new guy, Othmane Mama. This quote just says it all, doesn't it? The goal wasn't just to outscore the opponent, it was to get in their heads, to disrupt their game, to intimidate them until they fell apart. So the pieces were in place. The blueprint for mayhem was drawn up. Now, all that was left was to see if it would actually work. And their opening month of fixtures was, to put it lightly, a baptism by fire. I mean, just look at this schedule. 7 games crammed into just over 3 weeks. This is the relentless pace of the championship. There's no easing in. They were thrown straight into the deep end with a mix of tough league games and cup ties. And how did they start? With a perfect ambush, a massive 4-1 win away from home. The machine worked exactly as designed. They soaked up pressure and then just tore Huddersfield apart on the counter. It was one of those results that makes you think, wait a minute, maybe this crazy plan could actually work. And after that first win, Kodari himself had this rare moment of hope. You can just feel the exhaustion in that quote, can't you? It's that fleeting thought that, just maybe, he might survive the pressure that's been piled on him. Next up, another tough away game at Wrexham. And this was the moment Othmane Manama truly announced his arrival. The game is tight, it's 0-0, and in the 82nd minute, Birmingham get a penalty. The pressure is immense, and the new guy steps up. And he doesn't just score. He slots it home like he's been doing it his whole life, and then has the absolute nerve to turn to the furious home crowd and give them a little wink. In one moment, he showed everyone exactly who he is. Ice cold, supremely confident, and born for the big moments. But of course, the high couldn't last. A 1-0 home loss to Sheffield United was a brutal reality check. And it was a frustrating one, too. Birmingham had 2 goals ruled out by VAR, including what would have been a 99th-minute equalizer. A gut-wrenching reminder of how cruel this league can be. And then this happened. The absolute lowest point of the month. A 5-2 drubbing by Coventry in the Cup. There's just no positive spin you can put on a scoreline like that. It was a complete and utter humiliation. The source material calls it a horror movie filmed in broad daylight, and that is just perfect. It was a total defensive meltdown, the kind of embarrassing defeat that could have completely derailed their entire season. But this team showed what it was made of. To wrap up the month, they went to QPR and pulled off the ultimate smash and grab. They spent the whole game defending, absorbing pressure, and then, in the 92nd minute, they snatched a winner. It was ugly, it was chaotic, but it was a win. So, after a month that had everything, huge wins, a new hero, VAR heartbreak, and a horror show defeat, where did that leave Birmingham? It was time to look at the big picture. And you know what? When you boil it all down, the results were incredible. In the league, which is all that really matters for promotion, they won 4 games out of 5. Yeah, the cup exit was ugly, but their main objective was right on track. And the board's official verdict, they were satisfied. And that's really the key takeaway here. The story of August isn't just about a team getting through a tough schedule. It was proof of concept. This battered, bruised, but surprisingly successful team wasn't just trying to survive. They were plotting something bigger, and something far more dangerous. And that leaves us with one big question. What happens next?